Hey everyone, it's me and welcome back to my channel. So this is my first face-to-face video. I'm super excited. I'm going to be talking about weight loss, my experience with weight loss surgery, and pretty much just the whole process. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll see that I did post a couple of pictures of my before and after, and I'll include them in the video as well so you can see what that looked like for me, where I started at, where I'm at. I'm pretty much going to go through all of those details, and I have a bunch of questions that my followers asked me to answer for them about weight loss surgery in general, things like that. So if you would like to see how my journey went, stay tuned. Get into it. So first off, I want to say thank you guys for all the support, whether you're from Instagram, Facebook, whether you just found me on YouTube. I appreciate you. I'm at over 4,000 subscribers on YouTube and almost to 28,000 followers on Instagram. So thank you guys for all your support. I do want to open up my page to people in other communities, of course, not just the nail tech. Of course, I have experience with the weight loss community, the surgery community, things like that. So I just want to open up my page and my channel to those different things. So if you guys have questions on these topics as well, feel free to drop them in the comments or inbox them to me, whatever you feel is easy. If you don't want people to know what your question is, just send it to me, because I understand a lot of times these are situations that you want to handle alone, trying to make sure you don't face too many judgments, which you really can't avoid. Like, these subjects are very sensitive. It's a lot of judgment that's going to be passed regardless. So just be confident in the decision that you make. And like I said, if you do have questions and need help making a decision toward a surgery or procedure that I'm speaking about, or that you have questions on, just send me a message. Just send me a personal message, and I'll talk to you and try to help you out, answer your questions as best as I can. But I do have a good list of questions that I wrote down from when my followers asked me about my whole process. So starting from the beginning, I was always plus size. I was a plus size kid. And then I grew up, I was super active, but I was very sickly. So I had asthma really bad. Every time I would get sick, they would just put me on steroids. So over time, it just blew me up. So I wasn't really big because I was overeating or anything like that. I was always very active. Food was never like a big thing to me, except for events and everything. It wasn't like I couldn't stop eating. Anything that I wanted to stop eating, I could drop it. So when it came down to me wanting to just lose weight, I could do it myself. And usually I would do maybe like 30-40 pounds by myself, and then I would just be like, okay, I get kind of comfortable, and that's it. So then I would get lazy, started to gain it back, of course, over time. And then every time that you try to go back and lose the weight, it's harder. It's just like a muscle memory thing. Like being prone to being more overweight, I have a slower metabolism. It's easy for me to just gain my weight back. If I don't keep moving, if I don't eat healthy, things like that, I'm gonna gain my weight back. I'm not one of those people that was blessed with a fast metabolism. I can't eat whatever I want. I can't look at foods. I will gain weight. So it's always been a struggle of mine. And then once I got to about college, I pretty much did it again. I lost a lot of weight during college. I lost a lot of weight after college, but it was just still that same cycle. And I just wanted to have something that was more permanent. It was just getting harder and harder for me to re-lose that weight and I felt like I couldn't get past a certain point. Like I would just plateau. And then of course, if you've ever been through that, it's a discouraging thing to not see the scale move, and you knowing you're doing everything, trying to change up your exercise routine, maybe try different foods or whatever, still plateauing. So I just decided that I wanted to go ahead and do something a little more permanent. So I had started looking into weight loss surgery. So I talked to my doctor about it, and they wanted me to try different things. So they even tried other like medications for weight loss, which were terrible, didn't work. You know, they made sure I tried eating healthy, and you know, they gave me the opportunity to do it myself, and I worked hard to do it myself to show to them like I'm serious about losing my weight, but it's really not coming off like how I wanted to. So that's when I decided, that's when it was like, okay, maybe you should go see a surgeon for bariatric surgery. So I started looking into that, and I'm like, well, I really don't want to do a bypass. I just heard so many negative things about a gastric bypass. I was like, I really don't want to do that. I'm super young still. I don't want to mess up my body that young, and then I have to deal with those problems for the rest of my life. So then I learned about the other options. So I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. You may see it as VSG. A lot of times people in the community call it VSG or just the sleeve. That's what I got. So quick breakdown. The gastric bypass is like one of the first weight loss surgeries. That one, they pretty much take your stomach, cut it into a little portion, about 20% of your stomach. That's all they leave. And then they bypass the rest of the stomach. So they don't take the other part of the stomach out of your body. They just bypass it by cutting out a part into your intestines. So pretty much it does what it says. It bypasses the main part of your stomach, and then you just have this little about, they say like a small orange sized stomach that they make, and then they go ahead and attach that to directly to your intestines. So literally just bypasses the biggest part of your stomach, but it does change your anatomy because they are cutting your stomach and moving your intestines. Is a little bit of a different procedure. A lot of people have problems with that surgery as far as gaining their weight back, and that was a big concern of mine. Also, eating after, a lot of people have a lot of different stomach problems with their eating and what they can't eat. Everything bothers them, you know, things like that. I didn't want to have to deal with, because also I already had acid reflux or GERD really bad as a kid. So I already, with me dealing with those problems, I didn't want to do anything to my stomach that would possibly make it worse. And there's not really any reversal to the bypass. So I was like, no, that's not for me. And then we have the lap band, which is for more of if you need to lose a little bit of weight, like 50 pounds maybe. What that does is pretty much just like it says, it's just a little band. They put it around your stomach, so still creating that smaller stomach right at the top, and it makes it harder. It makes it harder for your food to digest, so it digests very slowly. You get full quicker. So the idea of all of these surgeries is manipulating your stomach so that you hold less food. And so the lap band, the only thing is, like I said, that's for somebody that really just needs to lose maybe about 40, 50 pounds, maybe 60. And it's not a permanent thing. So that's the downside to that. If you're fairly small, maybe if you're short and you are bigger, so you don't weigh a lot, but you weigh a lot for your height, and you don't necessarily qualify for gastric sleeve or bypass surgery because you're not big enough, the lap band is a good option for you. Because even there are people who are smaller, still overweight in medical terms, but smaller, and they don't qualify, because you do have to be a certain size BMI to qualify for the gastric sleeve or the bypass. So if you don't qualify for that, this is a good option for you. So I would definitely look into see what your doctor offers as far as like a lap band and the different procedures that your bariatric surgeon offers, so that way you can kind of weigh all your options. Now with the sleeve, which is what I got, pretty much all they do is cut down the side of your stomach, so they don't move anything around, which is what I was very excited about. My anatomy is exactly the same. Literally, the only thing they do is cut your stomach in half, pretty much, not even. They cut it 80%. So you have, think of it as going from a stomach that can fill up to the size of like a basketball, versus now your stomach can only fill up to the size of a small orange or smaller. So 80% of your stomach is removed, and they staple you back up, and then you just heal like that. So, and then they do take that other part of your stomach out. So that's how it differentiates from the bypass to the sleeve. So directly after you go to liquids, and this is going to be with any procedure, you're going to go to liquids for a few weeks, and then you move up to purees, soft foods, and then solids. So that part is going to be the same pretty much for any procedure, and I'm going to go into a little more detail for that as well when it comes to how you're going to eat after surgery. So those are the 3 most popular options. I would say there are tons of other options when it comes to weight loss surgeries, but these are the 3 most popular that you're going to probably hear about when you go to your surgeon. These are the ones that they're going to recommend because these are probably the ones that they do the most frequently. So that was what I chose. And then as far as getting started, so first things first, which is going to be really important, you want to make sure you figure out how you're going to pay for your surgery. So the surgery is medically necessary if you meet the requirements. So in order to find out what your requirements are going to be, you want to go ahead and call your insurance company. So whoever your insurance is through, whether it's Medicaid or one of the larger insurance companies, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is call them and let them know, hey, I'm looking into weight loss surgery, or I'm looking into a bariatric procedure. What are the qualifications? Like, what do you guys require? So for my insurance, they require that I go to a center of excellence, which is a lot of the times the insurance companies have that list of accredited hospitals and surgeons that they will cover for specific procedures, meaning this is the list of surgeons that you can choose from. So don't get started by looking for a surgeon. It's not like cosmetic surgery, because this is something that can be paid for by insurance. Cosmetic surgery, you're paying for out of pocket. So that's why you can search and look for your surgeons and all that stuff like that separately. This one is the opposite. You want to go to the financer first because they make the rules. So call your insurance company and say, hey, I want to get bariatric surgery. What are the requirements? What doctors do you guys cover? So that way you can see who in your area and choose the surgeon that you want to go to. So after I chose my surgeon based off reviews and location, pretty much it was only one surgeon on my side or in my city closest to me, and he had really great reviews, so I just went ahead and chose him. And then when you go to the surgeon, then they'll show you the next steps of the program. So everybody's insurance is going to require you to do different things to qualify. For my insurance, I had to do 6 months consecutive nutrition or dieting counseling of some sort. So even they would have included like Weight Watchers. If you had done it consecutively for at least 6 months within that time period, or at least within a year before you started this journey, they'll accept that. But I did do Weight Watchers all the way pretty much up until then, but I wanted to go ahead and give myself that extra 6 months, and I wanted to use the program that the surgeon was using because I got to see their actual dietitian and their nutritionist, and that I felt like was very helpful for me. I wasn't really concerned about hurrying up and getting the surgery because it's a life-changing event. It's not a easy way out, as people like to call it. It's not an overnight process. Even with me having the surgery, it's still something that you have to work for. It does not work unless you work with it. So I wanted to make sure I knew everything that I could to make sure when I get out of surgery, I can eat better. You know, I can do what I need to do to make sure that I keep my body that I've worked hard for, and that I'm not wasting my time going through pain and recovery, making all these changes, and then my surgery is not successful because I didn't do my part. So I went ahead and I took the opportunity that they gave me with going to their dietitian, going to their nutritionist for 6 months in a row. I had to log everything that I ate. I had to log all of my exercise, and it didn't necessarily require me to lose weight, but it was pretty much them showing me that I'm ready. I'm not gonna waste this opportunity. Like, this is not a cheap procedure at all. This is a super expensive procedure. This is not necessarily something you want to pay for out of pocket. There is weight loss surgery centers which are different than if you go to a hospital. They are a lot cheaper, and they do offer those payment options. The hospital that I went through, that is not something that I would ever want to try to pay for out of pocket, because when you get to dealing with the hospital doctors, everybody knows hospitals are super expensive. So off the rip, the procedure alone would have been $50,000. That does not count the fact that I had to stay in the hospital. That doesn't count all the appointments that I had to do, you know, all of that stuff. I had to do a lot of tests and all that stuff like that. So this is like over $100,000 worth of money that this procedure cost me over that year getting prepared, and then the follow-up appointments and testing and all of that. So if you have insurance, even if it's Medicaid, it is something that is usually covered on Medicaid. Call and ask them. Don't try to pay for it yourself. It's always better to go through the insurance company anyways, because the surgeons that they recommend, they know what they're doing. Usually when you go to the weight loss surgery center, it is going to be, you're still going to be able to get the procedure you want usually, and you usually can do those payments broken down on your own if you don't have insurance. But from what I've seen, and I've seen a few of them in my area, in comparison to going to the hospital, the weight loss is different. It's usually different. So I recommend going to the hospital. You're going to get the best care. You're going to get follow-up appointments. You're going to get, you know, service care. You're going to be able to talk to your doctor throughout the whole process. And I'm not saying you can't do that with the weight loss surgery, but just from my experience, I felt much safer going to the hospital. They did all my labs, all my testing, everything I needed to do, I was able to do right in the hospital with my surgeon. So it just made it a lot easier. And I just felt like my procedure, even before I got my surgery, when I started it, I felt like my procedure was going to be successful. Like I just already knew, based off the setup and the treatment that I was already getting just from coming into the office. So definitely go through your insurance first. That's the first step on getting started. So I did go ahead and do my 6 months. I had to do testing as far as I had to see a psychiatrist. They want to make sure that mentally you are ready for this. Now, people think it's a joke when we say that mentally you need to be ready for this, but mental is the hardest part of this. The getting rid of the food, all of that stuff like that, that's going to be done automatically by your surgery. But the fact that you have to understand, a lot of our lives are revolve around food. A lot of our friendships, our celebrations, our family get-togethers revolve around food. And so you have to realize mentally your relationship with food is going to change, and you don't even understand. Like, even if you may not be somebody like me who wasn't necessarily like an overeater, we all love food. We all love to eat. We all love to gather with our families. That's usually the thing. So you're not going to be able to really enjoy that the same. You're not going to be able to really just go out and eat with your friends. You can go out, but you're not going to really be eating. And it's different. Like, socially, it is different. And then the mental, where you're just looking at people eat stuff you can't have, just like when you're on a diet, you know, it can be hard for people. Some people can't mentally handle that because you feel left out. You feel like you're missing out, because you are. But you know that you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing this because you wanted to make the change for yourself. So it's something you have to really make sure mentally you can handle, because you will get depressed. You can get very depressed. You can get very much have post-surgery regrets, just from recovering, not being able to be out, not being able to do those same events, just the treatment that you're going to get when you go out and you're not eating. It's weird, and it's not something that we think about, because we don't really think about. We just never think about, like, oh wow, I'm not going to be eating. You know, I'm not going to be out to celebrate. Like, when I go out to celebrate with my friends, I'm going to celebrate. Like, usually we'll be like, oh, we're going to eat. You know, that's the fun part about it. That social part of your life is going to change. So mentally, you just have to be ready, and then making sure you have a great support system, because if you don't, it's harder. Now, granted, I did not tell a lot of people. I only told people that was close to me that I was doing the surgery, because it's not necessary for everybody to know, especially if they're not going to be supportive, or if they're not going to be beneficial to you. They don't need to know. But at least the people that I had around me were super supportive, literally helped me out, helped me from day one, even if it's just emotional support, which you're really going to need. So make sure you have a good support circle. Make sure mentally you are telling yourself this is going to be hard. Don't sit there and say it's nothing. I would like to prepare myself for the worst. And I want you, anybody that's watching this, that's getting ready to prepare for this surgery or wanting a procedure like this, I want you to mentally prepare yourself to know that this is going to be hard. This is not going to be an easy journey, and this is not going to happen overnight. Even with the surgery, it's still going to be a long time for healing till you get all the results that you want. It's just going to be a very long process. So definitely try your best to have a good support system, even if it's small, and mentally prepare yourself to be ready for what you're about to face, and know that even though it's hard, this is something you want to do. This is a change that's going to help you out for the better, and just stick with it. Like, just push through it. And that's really going to help you to get through this, and it's really going to help you to make that decision on if this is something that you even want to invest your time in, start investing your money in, etc., etc. So once you've got all of that taken care of, and you do your requirements for your insurance company to be able to pay for it, then you pass all your tests, do all your appointments, then they'll schedule you for your surgery, and so on and so forth. Now, as far as qualifying, so there is a minimum weight, and every surgeon is going to have a different number. So once you start from step one, you figure out what the surgeon is that you're going to be you're going to ask them their requirements, and really they'll tell you their requirements. And usually, I believe, like, the lowest BMI is like 40 and then up, and then I don't know what the highest BMI is, but there is a limit that's too high. But again, you want to check with your surgeon and see. They may require you to lose weight first if you are like at that max BMI. My BMI was about 52 or 53 day of surgery. I was 315. That was my highest weight, and that was day of surgery. And I had no health problems, so I automatically qualified because I was over the BMI limit and I had no health problems. Either that, or if you're under the BMI and you have health problems like sleep apnea, or diabetes, things like that are affected by weight, you may qualify, because now you have this health problem that may actually go away if you lose weight. So that's usually something that they will qualify you for. So if you are smaller or in the mid-range and you're not sure, but you do have those problems like sleep apnea and things like that, then you probably will qualify, because I know that's a huge concern. You don't have to be big to have sleep apnea, but it usually can be helped by losing weight. So usually if you do have any of those problems, which again, it is going to be a list, then they will let you know exactly what you need to do to qualify. So I qualified automatically. I was at the BMI. I had no serious health problems, so I was good to go there. I didn't lose weight during my 6 months. I actually gained weight my last couple of months because we had like a full funeral. It was terrible. We were turning up. It wasn't terrible. It was great because I can't do that anymore. And so me and my friends, we were just going out, we was having fun. We were traveling, things like that. So I probably gained about 15 pounds, like my first 2 months up to my surgery. And then nerves, stress, I was super nervous. I had to work the day before. I was not required to do a long liquid diet. I only had to do a liquid diet the day before surgery. But that was the most stressful day of my life, you guys. I had to work. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna stay fat. It doesn't matter, I'm being selfish. I'm gonna leave. I was just freaking out. I was so scared. I had to leave work. I was hungry because, of course, I couldn't eat anything. I could only drink clear liquid. So I was just doing Jello, water, juice, whatever to get me through the day, some broth, stuff like that, and just trying to mentally prepare myself and just talk to the Lord about it. Okay, it's gonna work out. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it through recovery. I'm gonna make it through surgery just fine. Just calm myself down. I made it this far. I made all the requirements. So I had got all my approval done for work. Got my time off ready. Everything was ready. So I was just it's gonna be okay. Let's do it. So I went into surgery, came out. First thoughts, what the hell did I do to myself? First thought, waking up in the bed, I just remember I was whining or something, like crying. And I don't know if it was just like something. I hear a lot of people say that when they come out of surgery they're crying, and I think it's just subconsciously because you're in pain, you know, but you're like you're being forced to put to sleep, but so you're still in pain, you're still reacting to that. So as you're waking up, you're reacting to that. And I was just like in pain until I realized, okay, I'm up. Like I realized where I was at, and I realized, okay, I went through surgery, it's done. And I'm like, oh, this pain. So I was on pain medicine. It was very painful. Not even gonna hold y'all, it hurts your body. All of this is sore, and you're just really out of it. And after I woke up, maybe like an hour or so later, they was like, come on, let's get up. And I'm like, what? Like, I feel like I've been just hit by a bus. You want me to get up? Like, they're like, yeah, you gotta walk. So I remember like getting up to the side of the bed, and I'm just like, oh, like all of this was just so sore. Like that's the best way I can explain it to y'all. It was just so sore. Really felt like a terrible workout, like not good. Like it hurt so bad. And then I had all my stuff hooked up to me, and I just walked. And I only stayed in the hospital overnight and all day the next day, and then I was able to go home. And they just got me up probably every couple hours or so. You have to wear your compression socks, especially with me being at a big BMI or a high BMI. You can be at a risk for blood clots, which happen after surgery, and that can happen due to you being immobile after surgery. So they make you get up and walk every 2-3 hours. It's very important, and that's what I did when I got home. Even through the pain, it's very important. I walked around my house. I walked circles around my house. When I wasn't asleep, I would probably sleep for 2-3 hours. Get up. You have a certain amount of protein and liquids that you're gonna have to get into your body every day, and it's not easy. You're gonna think, I can do that, and once you start, you're gonna be like, what? Like your stomach literally is nothing. Your stomach will not be able to hold anything. For example, I had to have at least 90 grams of protein a day. Now, this is very important for you because even though your stomach is gone and you're not going to be able to hold as much food, your body still needs those nutrients, or you will experience a lot of fatigue. It's going to be hard for you to recover, and your hair can start falling out at about month 4 or 5. Your nails will get brittle, things like that, because now you're eating a lot less than is necessary for an adult, and your body will go in starvation mode. So in conjunction with making sure you're getting your protein, you have to take a lot of vitamins. The doctor is going to give you a list of vitamins that you have to take every day and the frequency, and that's also things that's going to help you to keep your nutrition up in your body, because the food that you used to get it from, you can no longer eat. So now you have to make sure you're using those vitamins to put those nutrients back into your system. And there is a specific list that your surgeon is going to give you of exactly what you need to take, how long you need to take it for, etc., etc. So first off, you're just going to be doing protein shakes and clear liquids. And for me personally, I had to do liquids for 2 full weeks. So after surgery, I had to get in my 90 grams of protein a day, which would equate to about 3 protein shakes a day for me. And that was super hard. Like I would get up in the morning, maybe about 9 o'clock. I would drink out of a measuring cup, like how you measure your medicine in, and 1 ounce cups. So they're 1 ounce cups, and it would take me about 30 minutes to drink 1 ounce of liquid. That is about the size of a shot glass. So just think about it. Think about how you drink now, and you can chug a bottle of water in 30 seconds versus you can't even take down a shot glass worth of liquid in 30 minutes to an hour, because your stomach is very swollen, you know, from the surgery. So you can barely get anything in, and everything that you digest is going to take a lot longer. So your stomach is super, super small. You're not going to be hungry. And when you start to get hungry, it is going to be a different feeling. So I didn't really know what the feeling was. Like I felt uncomfortable, but it didn't feel like hunger. Like now when I'm hungry like regular. But before, like my first couple of months out of surgery, it wasn't necessarily hunger. It was more like I was feeling like I was nauseous. I was sick on my stomach, and then I would have some of my protein shake and I would feel better. So that's when I realized, okay, that means I need to eat, because I had no idea what that feeling was. It didn't feel the same. Being full was not the same. When you eat and you're full, you're like, oh, you know, like, oh, I'm so full, but it's good. But when you eat there and in the beginning and you're full, it's like, it's the opposite. So you are not gonna want to overeat at all. So that's why I made it hard to get that little bit of liquid in, but I had to do it even if I was up till midnight. I had to get all my protein in, so I would just sip on my protein shakes all day, and I would write it down. I had a log for almost my first full year, everything that I ate, what time I ate it, when I took my medications, and when I took my pain medicine, so that way I could stay on track and things like that. I did do pain medicine for about 2 or 3 weeks, I believe, and then I just did like regular Tylenol as I was healing. And at 2 weeks at my follow-up appointment, I was still very sore, very winded. It was hard, like walking into the doctor's office, taking my time. You're just out of breath. You gotta remember, this is one of the biggest parts of your muscles. This is one of the biggest muscles. You use this, even just sitting, you're using your abdomen. So to have all of that disrupted, and not be able to use it for so long, you're weak. Your core is weak. So walking, breathing, all of that is time consuming to you. Even taking a shower, my mom had to help me. I couldn't even wipe myself for like 2-3 weeks because it was just so painful. I was so like weak. Taking a shower was like, I would just get in the shower and just put my hands on the wall, and then my mom would just bathe me for me, and then I would try to dry myself off, but I would have to get immediately into bed because I would just be so dizzy and just kind of lightheaded and winded, because your energy's gone up until you got to build it back up. So when I hit my 30 days, I was back to like bathing myself. As long as I take my time, I could bathe myself and get myself in and out of bed. Had to sleep on my back, so that's really uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep on my sides for months, probably like 3 or 4 months before it felt comfortable to sleep on my sides. So I learned to sleep on my back. I just put pillows around me, you know, just got really comfortable, and maybe turn my hips to one side or the other. But turning over is gonna hurt, it's painful. So it's probably about 4 or 5 months before I was able to like sleep on my side. But you just make the adjustments. Like literally, these are just gonna be all adjustments that you're gonna have to make, because this is just something that you want to do. You know, this is a change that you want to make. So I just adjusted to it, and I'm just happy that I had people that were able to help me. And my god sister helped me a lot. So things like that were good to have. You want to make sure you have at least one person that can help you get around the house, that can help you bathe. If you can't get up, you know, somebody that can help you get up, help you maybe bring you something to drink. You want to make sure you are drinking fluids, even though it's hard. You never want to be dehydrated. So you just want to make sure that you kind of set those things up and you prepare yourself for that part of the surgery, because recovery is not easy. I won't even tell you that it is. I was able to go back to work after 30 days, and I was still very winded. Like even walking from the parking lot to my desk, I had to take my time. And then working on the phone all day, sitting at the computer all day, I was sore. Like I was sore from just sitting up. It took me a good another 2 weeks of actually being at work for my stomach and my muscles here to not be so sore. And then after about 2 months, I went back to exercising. So after 2 weeks, I was able to go to Puree Foods, and I was super excited. Like, oh, my doctor was asking me, what do you want to eat? And I was like, I want to have an egg. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, I want some scrambled eggs with cheese. I was like ready to eat. Like, yes, I could have something that is not just liquid and milk, because that's how I felt like I was drinking that whole time, was just milkshakes with protein shakes. So I was like, yes, I could have some food. So I got home, scrambled me a little egg, cheese, just like how I normally would, and I had to eat with like a little baby spoon, so that way I automatically was giving myself smaller portions. So imagine you have 1 egg, a little baby spoon. I took 1 bite of the baby spoon, and I had it, and I'm chewing it, and I was like, let down. Was not the same at all. that was pretty much all I could get in was like that little one bite, and I was done. Like, it was so hard for me to eat. I was freaking out, y'all. I was like, this can't be it. Like, from watching other people's videos, they be eating a whole egg, or they'll eat, you know, they eat regular food. I can't eat even a bite and I'm full, and I'm just uncomfortably full. You know, it's not like comfortable. It's like, what did I do? It was like eat a full meal from that one little bite. So it took me like all day to finish my egg, and I still had to do my protein. So I was like, well, I'm just going back to protein shakes because it was easier for me to do it. And then I just slowly tried. So then I started doing like string cheese, because that was another thing I was on my list of foods. They did give me a list of foods that I could eat in puree form. So I just tried different things off my list. Cheese was really soft. It was easy for me to eat. I didn't have to blend it or anything like that. It was already soft. And I would just put a little bit of like the eggs and stuff into my little 1 ounce cup, and then I would just work on that for a couple of hours. And that's literally how much it took. Like, in the beginning, I was probably getting in about 300 to 400 calories a day. And my first month, I lost 25 pounds. And then after that, it was about maybe a steady 15 pounds a month. So once I finished that, it did get better. I was able to eat a little more on a schedule, but I had to force myself because they don't want you to depend on protein shakes. So I had to force myself to eat pureed foods as much as I could. And even if it took me all day, I just worked on it. And then making sure I still got my protein in. And then I moved into soft foods. And then in about 3 months, I was, I was gonna say almost 3 months, I was going into solid foods, which I didn't really do too much. I stuck pretty much with softer foods because it was easier for me to get down. It's not a requirement, it's just saying you're free to eat solid foods, but it is hard. So you're just gonna figure your way through that part, figure out what is easy for you to eat, what you can get in, do what you can. As long as you get that protein in, it's gonna be most important. So I was really heavy on having protein shakes in my diet every single day for about the first 9 months after my surgery, because that was the easiest thing for me to eat. Like, when I was eating regular food, there would be no way I would get anywhere near the amount of protein that was required for me. I was eating the equivalent of like 1 tater tot, and then I would be full, and then I would eat, and then I can wait 30 minutes for it to digest and eat another one. That's not enough. And even if I was doing it protein, like 1 shrimp, or, you know, like slowly I can eat a shrimp, that's not anywhere near the amount of nutrients that I needed for the day. So I still always had to have my 3 protein shakes a day, and then I tried my best to eat what I could in regular food. Now, complications. So a lot of people ask me about complications. I did not have any short-term complications really after surgery, except for the fact that it was just sore. You know, you're in recovery, you're healing. But at around the 6-month mark, I did start getting sick, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had gas really bad. I was throwing up. I couldn't keep anything down. I had pain really, really bad in my side, and I was just miserable. And then when I went to the doctor, did an ultrasound on my stomach, my gallbladder has started going bad. So that is a risk that you do run when you have any type of weight loss surgery, because rapid weight loss can cause your gallbladder to stall. When the gallbladder goes bad, it's bad, it's done. They have to take it out. So that's what happened to me. At my 6-month mark, they start doing my testing for my gallbladder to see if it was bad, and it was. I didn't have any gallstones, but I had what is called a sludge. So your gallbladder's job is to break down the fatty acids or the fats that come through your body and help process them through to your liver. With my gallbladder being bad, it wasn't breaking down my food. So all that old oil or whatever that I'm eating is just sitting in my gallbladder, and it just hurt, and that's what was making me so sick. So up until that point, my diet was super strict. I didn't eat any carbs at all. No carbs. I didn't eat any sugar. I didn't eat anything that was oily or anything really fatty. My diet was very strict keto. I did a little bit of fats, but not too much. I really just stuck to the meats and the vegetables. But I was on a very strict diet. I exercised 3 to 4 times a week. So by the time I got to my 6-month mark, when my gallbladder started going bad, I had already lost 100 pounds because I was not playing. Like, I took my surgery very, very serious. I followed all of my surgeon's rules. I did not drink. I did not do anything. He said don't eat bread, don't eat carbs, I didn't do it. So my surgery was really successful only because I aided in that by following the rules of my surgeon and making sure that I worked out, making sure that I did take my vitamins, make sure that I did get my protein in, even when it was hard, things like that. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And I've seen people who haven't and their results are not that good. So you have to work for the tool to work for you. You have to do that part. So I had my gallbladder taken out in about September. My surgery was February of 2017. I had my gallbladder taken out in September of 2017. That surgery as well was hard. You got to think about 6 months ago, I just had stomach surgery. So having it again, they used my same incisions, which is good. So I only have like 5 little incisions on my stomach because it's a laparoscopic procedure, meaning they don't cut you open. They just use the little incisions and they go in with the arms and do it like that. But healing was hard because 6 months ago, I just had it. My body's still healing. It literally takes about a year for your body to heal after a major surgery. So even though I felt better, I was exercising and doing those type of things, I still was internally healing. So going back under the knife within that time period, it was still hard on my body. And so that surgery was very painful as well. Like, the recovery was just like a revolving door, like doing it all over again. But I had no choice with that surgery. It was only about 2 weeks after they had seen that it went bad that it took them to get me into surgery because it was that bad. I was in a lot of pain and I was just very sick. And that is when I had to start eating starches again because that was the only thing I could handle. So my surgeon made me eat bread, rice. I was on a pretty bland diet. I wasn't eating a lot still. I wasn't eating anything but a couple of bites, but I had to eat bread and crackers and stuff because that was all I could handle until they removed my gallbladder. And then I slowly went back into my protein shakes, and I slowly went back, well, I was doing my protein shakes the whole time, but I slowly went back into like regular foods. So after that, I did my recovery. Everything was good. I did not have any long-term effects so far from having my gallbladder removed, which is great. A lot of people can't handle greasy foods. A lot of people can't handle a lot of foods after they have their gallbladder removed. So I didn't have any of those problems, which I'm very blessed. But after that, I went back to my doctor for my 9-month checkup, and I was still very heavy on the protein shakes because of, like I said, I was very afraid that I couldn't get in the nutrients that they needed because I just was not eating enough. Like, I couldn't eat enough. Even at 9 months, I was still taking 1-2 bites of food. So I was still very heavy on my protein shakes, and my doctor was like, you have to stop. Like, you have to eat real food. So I slowed down to doing 2 protein shakes a day and then trying to eat more a day. And then eventually I got down by my year mark to about 1 protein shake a day and eating what I could throughout the day. And I was eating at about 500 calories a day. So that was normal for me. My year mark, I was eating at about 500 calories a day, and maybe by my 2-year mark, I was probably at about 800 calories a day, and that's 2 years post-op. So I wasn't eating much, but I was sufficient with the 800 calories a day. I was still taking my vitamins, so that helped me make sure I was still getting the nutrients I needed. And then over time, I was able to eat a little bit more. So now I'm 4 years post-op, and for example, I can eat about, comfortably, I can say maybe I can eat about 2.5 chicken nuggets, maybe, comfortably. And then I will have to wait 30 minutes to an hour for that to digest, and then I eat again. So I don't eat a lot, even still 4 years post-op. I will never be again to the point where I can eat like a full plate of food. So usually I'm always eating, I'm always snacking because of the fact that I can only take 2-3 bites at a time. I take 2-3 bites, wait an hour, and then I'm hungry again. I'm eating all day long. This is how I make sure I meet that I actually eat anything, you know, I get my calories in. And I'm still really big on taking vitamins and things like that. So that's pretty much going to be post-op. If you have a good surgery, if you follow the rules, you will be able to maintain that weight. You will not stretch your stomach back out. I don't do anything to stretch my stomach out. I don't try to overeat or anything like that. I take my 2-3 bites and I put my plate down until, you know, I feel like I'm hungry again. And that's very important. That's why I said in the beginning, the mental part of it is very important, because there are people that go back to stretching their stomach out, overeating again, because mentally they think that they're not full, or mentally they just have this addiction of food. So if you're one of those people, you really want to evaluate to make sure that you can break that relationship with food, that you're okay not eating your favorite foods for a long time, because you're not going to be able to have that. I was a very big sweets and snacks person, and it was probably about a year before I was back to eating anything that was like a sweet or a snack. And even if I do eat it, it's a little bit. If I eat snacks now, which I still love snacks, it's still a little bit, because in comparison to what everyone else can eat, I still can't eat that. So it's cheating in moderation, which is always going to be very important. At this point, I eat what I want. But I do, when I feel like I'm getting a little lazy, or if I feel like the scale is changing too much, then I'll change it up. So it's very easy to drop the weight back if you do gain weight after surgery, but you have to make sure that you stay disciplined, because this is going to be the most important part of it all. Like, for yourself, you have to stay disciplined. You have to be on yourself. And you have to make sure that you're meeting those requirements even years after having the surgery. It's not going to work for you unless you still continue to work. So I always do make sure that if I feel like I'm getting too snacky, or if I'm getting too much candy in for a week or so, then I'll just cut it out for like 2-3 weeks and it'll be gone. Like, I just change my eating to something more healthy. If I still always want to eat all day, because the way I burn my food. So instead of me snacking on cereal and stuff like that, which is really easy for me to eat, then I'll just make a big salad and I'll just work on that for a few hours. So now I'm still eating all day, but I'm lowering the amount of calories that I take in. And so now I try to keep my calories about 800 to 1,000 a day. So that's where I'm at now. I don't really count calories, but based off the amount that I eat, that's where I stand right now. Okay, so let's talk about what I would do differently. That was one of my questions. So I wouldn't do anything differently. I did everything that my surgeon told me to do. So I lost my weight properly. My goal weight was always 160. 4 years out right now, I'm 165. So I'm maintaining my goal weight. I hit my goal weight about a year and a half after surgery. I went in at 315 pounds. By 6 months, I was about 215, and by May, my birthday of 2018, so almost a year and a half after, I had hit 160. So I lost, my smallest weight ever was 145, and that was because my mom had got sick and I was very stressed, and I had already hit my goal weight. This was right after I hit my 160. I had got the stomach flu. I went out the country, I got the stomach flu. I couldn't eat anything for like a week, so I dropped like 5 extra pounds in that week alone. And then after that, my mom got sick and I dropped like another 10 pounds over the next couple of months. And so I was about 145. That was my smallest weight. Not a weight that I really want to be at. I was really small. And it wasn't a small that I wanted to be. Like, I like being the size that I am. I didn't mind being that small. I guess it looks good on the scale, but to me, that's just not where I wanted to be. So, I mean, I maintained that weight for about a year. I was about 145, 150. And then around 2019, I started to gain some weight back. So that's when I started to go back to about 150, 155. And then the beginning of 2020, I was about 163-ish. And then in the beginning of this year, I was 167. So I've been maintaining. I don't exercise, but like I said, I don't eat high calories, so I don't really have a reason to gain weight unless I start with a lot of candy or a lot of carbs, like cereal, snacking and stuff like that. Then I will see the scale change a little bit, but like I said, I will cut it out, and I will eat salads for 2 weeks straight, and I will drop my 5-6 pounds like that. So it's in my control, and I maintain it because I know this is where I want to be. If I exercise, I would drop right back down to that 150, 145 range, and no problem. But it's just not where I want to be. So pretty comfortable here. I'm doing pretty good at maintaining. I do have other friends that always exercise. I'm just not an exercise person, and I'm grateful for the fact that I do have my eating under control to the point where I don't feel like I need to exercise, because I am not an exercise person. Like, that first year was very hard for me, really being dedicated and working out, because once I get out the groove, I'm out the groove. So it was just, once I was in it, I just tried to keep up with it, and I did really good. Just that first year and a half, I was really hard in the gym, and then after I hit my lowest weight, I stopped. So I haven't been back to the gym in about 2.5 years. I've been maintaining this weight just by maintaining it. And so my next step is going to be cosmetic surgery, because a lot of people ask about loose skin. I do have a ton of loose skin, so that's why I really wasn't concerned about being 160, because a lot of it is loose skin that I am going to get removed. Okay, so standing up, I want to show you guys so you can see some of the issues that I have without me really divulging. When it comes to loose skin. So my back fat, for instance, this is all deflated. Like, this all used to be filled with fat, but now it's literally just loose skin. So all of that stuff has to be removed. My stomach is literally all just loose skin. As you can see, it's super soft. So all of that comes from me losing the weight, and then the skin just not retracting. It's all my lower stomach, and so all that I am going to be getting removed when I have my tummy tuck. And then breast. So like I said, my breast completely deflated. So all of that is an area for me. Even my legs, my arms, I have pretty much like all loose skin. So yes, that is definitely going to be a problem if you have a lot of weight to lose, and you lose a lot of weight rapidly. You want to be prepared for the fact that you probably will have a lot of loose skin left over that you're not going to be really happy with. So yeah, plastics is probably going to be the next step for you. But like I said, I'm going to give you guys more information on how that goes and what it looks like, and a little more in-depth view of my before pictures before I go into surgery, so that way you can see the difference that it is when I get out of surgery next week, and the skin that has been removed. So it's not necessarily going to be like you can't gain weight, because you can, especially if you're overeating and stuff like that. But like I said, if you just go ahead, put a little bit into it, then you should be able to just lose the weight. It's usually not a big deal. Just when you start exercising, cut back some of your calories and really cut carbs. So when I feel like I'm getting a little bit up there, so I did get a little bigger maybe like around September, November-ish of last year because of quarantine and everything. I think I had got up to like 173, but I am back down to 165. So I think I measured that about Thanksgiving, and it's January, the end of January. So I just cut out a lot of carbs, and I was doing salads. Like literally I was eating salads all for the last month, since like the whole month of December. I was doing salads all day. I love salad anyway, and that just helped me to cut out a lot of carbs. Like I was just doing salad, protein, veggies, spinach, lots of spinach. And also I'm preparing for my neck surgery, which is going to be my tummy tuck and my breast lift. So in conjunction, I did want to get a little bit closer back to what my goal weight is, so that way after surgery I'm sitting at my goal weight, being that I am going to be a little sedent for a little bit. So if I do gain a little bit of weight while I'm in recovery, I'll be able to gain weight still at 160 and stay there, or 165. So I did change up my eating a little bit the last few months, and I did drop about 8 pounds in with doing that, but I did not exercise any. So like I'm saying, it really is all in what you eat. If you change the way you eat, That is the huge part. Like, you can exercise all day long, but if you go home and you eat wrong, it's not going to help. Keeping yourself in a calorie deficit is very important. So the most efficient way to lose weight, because this is another one of my questions, is the quickest way. So the most sufficient way to lose weight effectively is going to be to cut the calories. Cut those calories. So you want to go ahead and check what calories you need to lose weight and what calories you need to have a day to maintain the weight you're at. So there's calculators online for that. You just go in and it's going to tell you if you are 5'6" and you weigh 200 pounds and you want to lose 50 pounds, it's going to tell you how many calories a day you need to eat in order to hit that goal. Now, healthy weight loss and normal weight loss is about 2 pounds per week. That's regular weight loss. When I was doing Weight Watchers, I was losing about 2 to 3 pounds a week, if that. And that is what they want you to do. That's how regular weight loss goes. When I first came out of surgery, I was losing 15 pounds a month. That's not normal. That's that's extreme weight loss per month, according to doctors and things like that. 2 to 3 pounds a week is healthy. So if you're going to be doing that route, definitely cut your calories and then have a healthy exercise schedule. So when I started exercising, I was doing 3 to 4 times a week, at least 1 hour of cardio per session. So I would hit the elliptical, or I would hit the treadmill, or the cross trainer for an hour straight cardio, burning 500 calories. And mind you, I'm only eating 500 calories a day, so I'm not gaining anything. No, I'm in a complete calorie deficit in the beginning, which helped jumpstart my or keep my metabolism fast and to keep my weight loss to just melting off. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you got to do. Like, that's why I said now if I go to the gym, I'm eating 800 to 1,000 calories a day. But if I go to the gym and I work out for an hour and burn 500 calories, I'm automatically putting myself in my own deficit even more. So you want to make sure that if you're not going to do any type of weight loss surgery, procedure, or thing like that, you want to just do natural weight loss, cut those calories, and get rid of carbs. It's the hardest thing to do because we love carbs, sugars, starches, bread, potatoes, things like that. They gotta go. It's hard, but they have to go. Literally, no sugars, no carbs. That's gonna be one of the best things for you. And even now, I don't drink any really sugary drinks. Everything I drink is diet or zero or whatever like that. I don't really drink alcohol anymore. After my gallbladder went bad. Also, I do have ulcers, so I believe that is a effect a little bit of my surgery. That came about 2 years after my surgery. I started developing really bad heartburn. So I will put this along the lines as one of the complications. So the first complication will be the gallbladder. It's a big risk, because back in the day when they did the bypass surgeries, they automatically took your gallbladder out. But then they seen that some people's gallbladder never went bad, so they stopped doing that. But now you want to keep in the back of your mind that it is a big risk for your gallbladder to go bad if you have one of these weight loss procedures, because rapid weight loss can cause your gallbladder to stall. So that's complication number 1. Number 2, now I do have stomach ulcers, and I believe it's my thing more because I already had acid reflux, but it is a big thing to get GERD very badly after you have a gastric sleeve surgery. And so it's a pro and a con. So one of the pros is gastric sleeve surgery, you can still get a bypass. So if my GERD or my acid reflux got to the point where I just couldn't handle it and the doctors could not find any medication to calm it down, then I would have to go and get a gastric bypass. And usually with that, you don't have any complications when it comes to heartburn or acid reflux. So if you do research on that, you'll see a lot of people that have had the sleeve have had very bad acid reflux to the point where they had to get a revision to a bypass. I, thank God, have not had to get to that point, but I do deal with ulcers. Now, peptic ulcers is specifically the ones that I have. They are reoccurring. there is no cure for them. I do take daily medication, and I don't drink. That's one of the big things. I don't drink, and I drink socially, so very, very rare. And if I do drink, I may have like a shot. Even when I drunk a little more prior to me getting my ulcers after my surgery, I drink straight liquor. I do not mix because of the sugar and soda and stuff like that. So even those type of changes are very important. You have to change everything you eat down to what you drink. Don't forget about the fact that our drinks hold a lot of calories. So when I go out to drink, usually I would just get a shot and like a Diet Coke to chase it. So that way you can count the calories that you are taking in from your alcohol and also from your drink. So just being very specific like that. But now I barely drink anything. I don't really eat any spicy foods because those do hurt my ulcers and make them flare up. And also I don't what else don't I eat? I'm okay with dairy, no spicy foods. I do take my medication every day. And I'm trying to make sure I get all the lists for you guys as far as my ulcers go. I think that's about it. So this pretty much I just stay away from the spicy foods, and I don't drink because those all flare up. Oh, and very important, pain medication. So with ulcers, if you guys are not aware, but certain medications like NSAIDs, which would be like Aleve, ibuprofens, and aspirins, cause ulcers and aid in ulcer problems. So you want to make sure that you're staying away from those. I usually only can take Tylenol or Tylenol products. So just always, if you feel like after your surgery, for anybody who's post-op, if you feel like after your surgery you have really, really, really bad heartburn that will not go away, like with Tums and stuff like that, you need to go to see a doctor because you probably have ulcer problems. You probably have an ulcer or two, and they will prescribe you something to help you to see if they can get rid of them. So so I got diagnosed with peptic ulcer disease because I had got sick with dealing with my ulcer problems in 2018, and then it went away. My doctor got it so that way I was good. They went away. I had to see a gastrointestinal doctor who did endoscopy, colonoscopy on me to see my ulcers in my stomach. That's how I got diagnosed. They prescribed me with some medication, and I took that till about summer 2018, and I was good. And then in the beginning of 2019, I had another flare-up. I got really sick again to the point where I thought it was the symptoms that was similar to when my gallbladder went bad. Like I really couldn't eat anything. My heartburn was very bad, and I was like, oh, the ulcers probably came back. So then I had to go through the process again in 2019 with figuring out what was going on with these ulcers. So pretty much in all my testing throughout that year, they figured out that I do have peptic ulcer disease, which means that I am going to always be on preventative medication for as far as I can see, to keep those at bay. If I miss 2 or 3 days of my medication, I will start to get heartburn really bad. So I already know that it's starting to form or flare up. So that is one complication that I can say could possibly be related to the gastric sleeve surgery because it can cause GERD very bad. So these are things that you want to be aware of. Would I do that differently? Would I not get the surgery because of that? No, ma'am, because I take my little pills. As long as I stay on my routine, I am good. And as long as I don't drink or eat anything that I'm not supposed to eat, I am fine, and I am okay with, you know, leaving those things out of my life. It's not something that I feel like I need to have. So like I said, I can drink if I need to go out. If we go out, I have a drink or two, or if I'm going out with my friends or something, I have a shot and I'm fine. But I just can't do where I'm drinking like every week or anything like that. I can't do that. So it's just something to consider. Like if these things that you feel like are more important to you, you might not want to go with a surgery like this because this is a permanent change. There's nothing you can do to reverse this process. The only thing you can do is revise it into a different process. So you want to make sure that you're okay with having to give up stuff. A lot of times we don't understand how attached we are to the things that we eat, the things that we do, you know, our routine. But when you go through a surgery like this, any procedure like this, you want to make sure that you are considering all of those factors, long term, short term, you know, everything in between, because is a permanent procedure. So you just want to make sure you are weighing the options. So that's what I'm trying to be as transparent as possible when it comes to my whole experience with this. And being that I am so far out, you know, I have a lot of experience and a lot of different things that I went through dealing with the surgery. And so I really just wanted to come through and tell people my advice and things that are just going to help you along, you know, when it comes to going through this surgery. Now, as far as loose skin, yes, so loose skin is going to be a problem for a lot of people, because if you're like me, I was plus size since I was a kid. So my skin has already been stretched out 25 years before I even had my surgery. It's not going to go back. Okay, there's nothing that I can do physically to make my skin go back. I have to get it surgically removed. So that's going to be one big thing that you have to consider, is the next step is going to be plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery, because you probably will have a lot of loose skin if you've been plus size for a long time. So after losing that much weight, and especially since you're losing it fast, your skin does have a hard time keeping up. You can do, I've done tightening creams, I've done wraps and all that other stuff. It's not gonna work. It's not going nowhere. It's to the point where I do have to get it surgically removed in order for it to look like I've completed my goal. So I'm gonna stand up and show you guys so you can see what I mean when it comes to the skin and the areas that affect me. So my next procedure is going to be an extended tummy tuck and also a breast lift with implants. So that is because losing all of this weight, I am more of an A shape, so I lose my weight from the face to the chest, then to the lower body first, and my upper body is a lot smaller than my lower body is. I lost weight in my lower stomach and my hips last. Another thing somebody asked me is, how can you lose weight in one section? You can't. If you lose weight, weight is overall. Where you lose weight at is literally determined by your body. So even though you may gain 10 pounds or lose 10 pounds, where it comes from or where it goes, that's on your body. So you can't just target losing weight one place. If you lose weight, you're just gonna get smaller overall. Now what you can do is target toning up a specific area by doing exercises that target that area, like your stomach or your arms and things like that. But if you lose weight in general, it's gonna be overall. It doesn't say, okay, you can't say I lost 15 pounds, but it's only for my stomach. So that doesn't work like that. You have to exercise in general. The weight is going to come off in total. But just because you get smaller, if your stomach is still there, that's just the way your body is shaped. Just like me. So I lost weight all in my face first. I lost all of my boobs. I was more of like a double D, almost a triple D. I was probably like a 42 or a 44 double D, triple D. And now I'm like a full B cup, or but I don't have any tissue really. My boobs are like deflated because I went from having full boobs and then nothing. So that's not something you can control. You can't choose, oh, I don't want to lose my boobs, I don't want to lose this. Like, it's all gonna go. It doesn't matter. When you're losing weight, your body's just gonna lose weight naturally from where it comes from. So I lost all of my boobs. This that you're seeing is a beautiful Victoria's Secret bra, because they have a lot of padding, things like that. So they give me the look that I have boobs, but if I don't wear anything, like if I just have on like a bandeau top or anything, I look very flat chested because of that. Also, my stomach and my back is where most of my skin is really hanging. It was to the point a little bit after my surgery where I did have to use some type of rash cream because the folds of my skin was getting irritated from the exercising and stuff like that. So that can be very irritating, especially if you lose more than I did. I lost 160 pounds. But if you losing 200, 300 pounds because you are way bigger, you're gonna have a hard time losing more weight because that skin is very heavy. Like, my skin is not that heavy because I'm overall still small, but it is very annoying. And you have to keep it clean, things like that. So definitely getting your skin removed is going to be something that you're probably going to want to look into next. If you do have a large amount of weight to lose and you lose it all very fast, you are going to have to deal with loose skin. I would definitely count on having loose skin. So about a year after is what my surgeon told me is when I can start looking into plastics. My first step was to go through a doctor that he recommended to try to get it approved through my insurance. Now, certain skin removal procedures can be approved through insurance. Your insurance just has to have it included in their contract. Mine, however, does not. My insurance company does not offer it at all. So, it just wasn't an option for me. So that's when I went into looking for a payment unit for myself. And I'm gonna go into a whole video about plastics and how I got approved and what you have to do, blah, 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 in a whole other video, because that, is a lot. But yes, so you are gonna have problems with loose skin. I would definitely count on it when it comes to losing a lot of weight. And then as far as medication goes, so losing weight naturally, of course, exercising, diet, cut out the carbs, things like that. There are medications that you can ask your doctor to put you on. So like I said, I tried a medication. I don't even think it's out anymore. It was like a trial run. It did not do good for me. I didn't lose any weight, so I wouldn't recommend what I took. I don't even remember the name of it. But a lot of people are taking like Phentermine, which is also something that's provided by your doctor. So you need to go to your PCP to be checked out, evaluated, and prescribed that prescription. And then it's another one that's called, it's like Apedix or something. I have to look at the exact word and I'll put it in the description box. But those are medications for weight loss or aiding in weight loss that you can get through a doctor. So you have to make sure your PCP does evaluation of you and prescribes this for you, because those are medications that have a lot of complications and specific ways they need to be taken. But I've heard a lot of people take that to lose weight quick. And then of course you can always do detox diets. You can always do very strict diets, like the HCG diet, which I did. Super strict diet, look it up. Very strict. It's hard, okay, but I did lose a lot of weight. But look it up if that's something that you guys want to do. Those are all quick methods as far as naturally losing weight on your own without getting any surgical procedures. And of course the old count those calories and exercise, and stay dedicated, because if you're like me, I can get going and I just be exercising, working out, hitting the gym, and I'm good. But as soon as I get lazy, it takes me like 6 months to a year to get back on track. So if you are a person who has a good support system, or you're just an active person, just go ahead and cut out the bad food. The food is really going to be, the food and the willpower is the parts that are working against us the most. Our own personal willpower and our own wants and addictions to foods, and not being able to let them go, things like that. So that's just obvious. When it comes to losing weight naturally, you're gonna have to work hard. It's not easy. Even if you get surgery like I did, it's still not easy. It's still a lot that comes with it, and you still are going to have to eat right and exercise. It doesn't change. It just makes it easier for you to actually keep the weight off, versus if you lose it, you're still eating the same. You're just gonna gain it right back. So that's one of the big things that I would say as far as losing weight quickly and naturally. And I think that's pretty much it. Some people did ask me about the type of protein shakes that I like. I personally like Premier Protein because of the way it tastes. It tastes more just like regular chocolate milk and vanilla milk, and they have strawberry, and those are really good. Being that just something you have to eat every day, you're gonna want to get something that tastes good to you. So it's a lot of different ones, as long as it meets the protein amount that you are required to have per day. Doesn't matter what brand you pick. I did do muscle milks a little. They taste a little bit different. So like I said, it's all about taste and preference of what you can do. You can also do protein waters. There are different protein mixes and things like that. Once you look into what you can have after surgery, you'll see all those different options. So there's a ton of options. It's all personal opinion. As long as you are meeting the requirements that's necessary, that was put in place by your surgeon, that's really all that matters. The brand doesn't matter, the flavor doesn't matter. The nutrients that it provides is really what's all that's important. And that's pretty much it. So start from the beginning by making sure that this is something you want to do. Figure out what insurance you have and call them and let them know you want to look into bariatric or weight loss surgery. And then they're going to tell you the steps as far as how to get a surgery. Then you want to do every single thing that the insurance company and the doctor tells you to do to get qualified and approved, to go to all of your appointments. If you can lose weight before surgery, that is a plus. If your insurance requires it, do it. Stay on track. If you have nobody to motivate you, motivate yourself. Remember, you did this for yourself. So at the end of the day, yes, you do have people that are going to tell you good job, great job, but you shouldn't need that, because at the end of the day, this is you. You know, this is for you. If you want to look the way you want to look, if you want to feel the way you want to feel, or get rid of those health problems that are hindering you, you need to be on top of yourself. So even though I didn't have anybody that I worked out with, I was still in the gym. Like, I did it by myself. I went to the gym by myself. That wasn't anything that I was waiting on somebody to do. And a lot of people have a problem with waiting. Don't wait for nobody to do it. If you do it yourself, get up, call, ask what you need to do, go to those doctor's appointments, start getting ready to change your eating habits. It's not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. Your life is going to be permanently changed if you make this decision. So you want to make sure you're considering all the options, and that you're really ready to mentally put your all into doing this, or it's not going to be successful. And you're going to be one of the people that got weight loss surgery, went through all the painful recovery, and lost all the weight you needed and gained it right back. So you just want to make sure you're considering all of those options. I hope that I covered as many questions that a lot of you guys had. I wrote them down. As you can see, I have a little list. I tried to incorporate everything, and I really hope this helps you guys out as far as getting started, how it's going to be, what you need to eat, etc., etc. And then anything else that you feel like you need to ask, or you want any questions that I didn't answer during this video, let me know in the comments or inbox me, and I will definitely help you guys out. Now, my next video, I will start vlogging. I'm going to do a little more live vlogs for next week and stuff when I go into surgery and post-op, so that way I can kind of document my experience day by day for you guys, so you can see how that is once you go through the cosmetic process. So hopefully you guys will be tuning in for that as well. And I'm going to go ahead and break down in detail in my next few videos how you go about being approved for cosmetic surgery and the process that it takes to get that surgeon, get the surgeon you want, and financing and things like that. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you everybody who submitted questions, and hopefully this was very helpful for anybody who is deciding to take the route that I did and make a change in your life for the better. Thank you again, and subscribe to my channel while you're here. Click the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you guys in the next one.